While the rest of America is maxing out credit cards, fighting over parking spaces at the mall, and arguing about which inflatable lawn decoration looks better next to the mailbox, there is a community of people scattered across Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Indiana who are preparing for Christmas in a way that has not changed in 300 years. No Amazon orders, no Black Friday strategy, no elaborate light displays that can be seen from a passing airplane, just a quiet, deliberate, deeply intentional celebration that most of us would not recognize as Christmas at all if we stumbled into the middle of it. And yet, when you understand what it actually involves, it starts to look like the most honest version of the holiday anyone is still practicing in this country. The Amish do not talk about the true meaning of Christmas. They live it. Every single decision about how they mark this season, from the date they celebrate to the food they serve to the way they dress for church, flows from the same source. Faith expressed through simplicity, community held above individual comfort, and a studied rejection of anything that places appearance, consumption, or personal display at the center of what is supposed to be a religious observance. Whether you share their theology or not, watching how the Amish approach Christmas has a way of making you look at your own traditions and wonder, at some point along the way, how did we get so far from what we said this was about? Let us start with something that surprises almost everyone who encounters it for the first time. Not all Amish communities celebrate Christmas on December 25th. There is a genuine and fascinating split among Amish communities on this question, and it comes down to something most modern Americans have never had to think about. Which calendar is correct? The more traditional communities, including the Old Order Amish and some Schwarzentruber Amish, celebrate Christmas on January 6th. They call it Old Christmas, and they have precise theological reasoning for the choice. When the world switched from the Julian calendar to the Gregorian calendar in the 16th and 17th centuries, these communities decided that adopting the new calendar was a concession to worldly authority they were not prepared to make. January 6th coincides with the Feast of Epiphany, and in their understanding, it is the actual date of Christ's birth. December 25th is what some of them politely refer to as the world's Christmas. That is their gentle way of saying the rest of you are celebrating on the wrong day, and they wish you well regardless. The more progressive communities, including New Order Amish and some Amish Mennonite groups, have shifted to December 25th on the grounds that the calendar alignment is a practical matter rather than a theological one. They celebrate on the same day as their English neighbors, which is what Amish communities call anyone who is not Amish. But that is roughly where the similarities end. Regardless of which date a particular community observes, one figure is completely absent from every Amish Christmas in every community without exception. Santa Claus does not exist in the Amish Christmas. Not on cards, not in stories told to children, not as a decorative figure anywhere in the home. The entire commercial mythology, built around a gift-delivering figure in a red suit, is simply not part of the framework. The celebration is oriented entirely around the Christ child, and that orientation is not something that gets balanced against other holiday traditions. It is the only tradition. The day itself, whichever date it falls on, begins with church. And Amish church services are not what most Americans picture when they hear the word service. There are no cushioned pews, no projection screens, no praise band warming up in the corner. Amish Christmas church services run for 3 hours or more. The singing is entirely a cappella, drawn from the Ausbund, The hymnal used by Amish communities that is one of the oldest Christian songbooks still in continuous use anywhere in the world. The sermons are long, delivered in Pennsylvania Dutch, and focused with complete seriousness on the theological significance of the Incarnation. Children sit through the entirety of this service with a composure that most modern parents would find genuinely astonishing. They have been doing it since they were old enough to sit upright, and the expectation is simply that this is what Christmas morning is for. After church, the community gathers for the meal, and this is where an Amish Christmas begins to feel more familiar to outsiders, though the details are still entirely their own. Number 17, meatloaf with tomato glaze and green beans. The food at an Amish Christmas table did not arrive in a grocery bag 2 days ago. The ham on the table was cured and smoked using methods the family has used for generations. The vegetables came from a garden that was tended, harvested, and preserved across the previous growing season. The bread was baked that morning from flour that came from grain the family may have grown themselves. The pies, including the legendary shoofly pie that is central to Pennsylvania Dutch holiday tradition, are made from recipes that have not changed since the great-grandmother of the woman making them learned them from her own great-grandmother. Farm to table is not a restaurant concept in an Amish home. It is just how things work. When families gather around the Christmas table, there is no football game playing in the background. There are no phones buzzing. There is no one half present because they are monitoring a group chat. Conversation is the entertainment, and it has been sufficient for 300 years. Now let us talk about gifts, because this is where the contrast with the surrounding culture becomes most striking. Amish gift-giving is handmade, almost without exception. A father might spend weeks in his woodshop, crafting a toy for his child, a wooden train, a carved animal, a small rocking horse built from solid wood and designed to last long enough to be passed down. A mother might spend months stitching a quilt for a daughter, each square cut and sewn by hand, the pattern carrying meaning that a store-bought item could never contain. Older children make gifts for younger siblings. Grandmothers prepare preserves and baked goods. Families exchange practical items that reflect genuine knowledge of what the recipient needs, not a hasty guess made under the pressure of a shopping deadline. There is no gift receipt folded inside an Amish present. There is no possibility of returning it for something else. When you receive a handmade gift from someone in an Amish community, you are receiving a portion of their time, which is the one thing no one can manufacture more of. And in a community that understands that clearly there is nothing more valuable they could give you. Number 17, meatloaf with tomato glaze and green beans. Christmas cards in Amish households are often handmade as well, featuring carefully lettered Bible verses or hand-drawn imagery. Families sometimes make card creation a shared project in the weeks leading up to Christmas, with children contributing drawings or helping to address envelopes in handwriting they have been practicing since they were old enough to hold a pen. The cards that arrive in an Amish mailbox during the Christmas season are treated as significant objects, read carefully, shared with the household, and kept. The clothing worn to Christmas church service deserves its own consideration, because even here, the Amish approach carries meaning that runs deeper than appearance. Amish clothing follows strict community guidelines year-round, but Christmas is the occasion when every family brings out their best. Men wear their finest black suits, pressed with the kind of care that treats the act of preparation as part of the observance itself. Women wear their best dresses in the deep, solid colors that Amish community standards permit, their white aprons immaculate, their prayer coverings starched and perfectly shaped. Children are dressed in miniature versions of adult clothing, small boys in suits that mirror their fathers, girls in dresses that match their mothers. Nobody is wearing a Christmas-themed anything. The specialness is entirely in the quality of care taken with clothing that follows exactly the same rules it follows every other Sunday of the year. What strikes outsiders about Amish Christmas preparations is how early they begin and how calm the process remains. There is no last-minute panic because the system does not permit last-minute panic. Gift-making begins months in advance. Food preparation follows the rhythm of the growing and preserving season rather than a single frantic week in late December. The community knows who will host which gatherings and who needs extra support during the season, and those plans are made and honored without the logistical chaos that most American families associate with holiday coordination. There is no holiday budget anxiety in an Amish household at Christmas because the gifts do not cost money in the way that commercial gifts do. They cost time and skill, both of which the community has been building all year. The debt that many American families carry into January as a direct result of December spending is simply not part of the Amish Christmas experience. And here is what may be the most countercultural aspect of the entire Amish approach to this season. For the Old Order communities celebrating on January 6th, Christmas arrives when the rest of the country is taking down decorations and returning gifts. The neighbors are already back to ordinary life. The commercial holiday infrastructure has been dismantled and put in storage. And that is precisely when those families are sitting down to their most solemn church service of the year, serving their most carefully prepared meal and exchanging gifts that someone spent months making by hand. They are not behind. They are on a different schedule entirely, and they believe it is the correct one. In part 2, we go inside the community gatherings, the caroling traditions, the way Amish children experience Christmas, and the extended celebration that continues long after the rest of the country has moved on to planning Valentine's Day. The gathering is the heart of Amish Christmas in a way that no gift, no meal, and no decoration can replicate. While most American families consider it a successful Christmas if everyone makes it to dinner without a significant argument, Amish communities are assembling extended families and church communities in numbers and with a consistency that the modern world has almost entirely lost the architecture to support. Extended families arrive by horse and buggy across roads that have not changed much since their grandparents traveled them. There are no flights to book, no highway traffic reports to monitor, no coordination nightmares managed through a family group chat. The distances are modest because Amish community life is deliberately local, and that locality is not a limitation. It is what makes genuine gathering possible. Everyone is close enough to come, and everyone comes. The elderly are not left out of these gatherings and are not expected to travel to others. The community goes to them. Families who have experienced loss during the year, a death, an illness, a difficult harvest, receive deliberate and specific attention during the Christmas season. This is not organized through a charity committee or a church program with a sign-up sheet. It is simply understood. Community members know who needs the presence of others most acutely during a season that can sharpen loneliness into something genuinely painful, and they show up without being asked. The caroling tradition in Amish communities is something that deserves particular attention because it is so completely unlike what most people picture when they hear the word caroling. There are no lyric sheets. There are no backing tracks playing from a phone speaker There is no rotation through the 3 verses of Jingle Bells that everyone half remembers. Amish carolers sing hymns that have been passed down through generations, many in Pennsylvania Dutch, drawn from the same tradition that shapes their church services. The harmonies are genuine and complex because these are people who have been singing these specific songs together since childhood. In church, every other Sunday, at family gatherings, at community events throughout the year. The voices are practiced not through formal training, but through a lifetime of regular, communal singing. A group of Amish carolers arriving at a farmhouse on a cold winter evening produces a sound that people who have heard it tend to remember for the rest of their lives. No instruments, no amplification, just human voices in the dark, carrying music that has been kept alive through continuous use across centuries. They direct these visits with intention toward those who need them most. The widow living alone, the family recovering from illness, the elderly man whose children live in the next settlement over and could not make the journey this year. The music arrives where music is most needed, and it arrives on foot and by buggy rather than through a speaker. Amish children experience Christmas in a way that is worth understanding on its own terms, rather than measuring against what children elsewhere receive. They wake on Christmas morning to a small number of carefully made gifts. A carved toy, a hand-stitched bowl, a pair of mittens their mother knitted during the autumn evenings. They do not write lists to a figure who will fulfill those lists from a warehouse. They participate in the making of gifts for others, learning in the process that the work of preparing something for someone you love is itself a form of celebration. A young boy who spent November sanding and finishing a small wooden box for his sister understands something about Christmas that no amount of unwrapping can teach. The Christmas break from school involves real activity rather than passive consumption. Children help with preparations, join community gatherings, participate in caroling, assist with the ordinary farm work that continues regardless of the season, and spend unhurried time with cousins and grandparents in ways that digital entertainment structurally prevents. The memories they are building are made of conversation, shared physical work, games that require other people, and the particular texture of winter on a working farm. Then there is what happens after Christmas, which in Amish communities is not a slow deflation back to ordinary life, but a genuine continuation of the season. The 12 days following Christmas are observed as a period of extended celebration, continued visiting, ongoing charitable work, and gradual transition rather than an abrupt return. The joy does not get packed into boxes with the decorations because there were no decorations. The warmth of the season was never stored in objects. It was stored in habits of community, and those habits do not have a takedown date. What the Amish have preserved in their Christmas traditions is not a quaint alternative to modern celebration. It is a coherent answer to a question most of us have quietly been asking for years. How do you celebrate something that is supposed to mean everything without letting the things you buy crowd out the meaning entirely? Their answer has been the same for 300 years. You do not buy the celebration. You build it slowly with your hands and your time and your community. And when it arrives, it belongs to you in a way that nothing purchased ever quite does.